Hello everyone, HisRoyalFatness here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the How to Play series in the Object 268, where I will show you 4 consecutive games in this vehicle to show you a variety of situations and how I play it, in particular how I play this tank as an aggressive support vehicle. But before we jump into those games, I would like to first show you the equipment I am running with the Object 268. This is what I like on the tank, but as I always say, equipment is completely subjective to you as a player and how you intend to use the vehicle. And with that out of the way, let's jump right on into the first battle. Alright, so for this first battle, I am going to be going straight towards C on Rockfield. Now, the first thing I noticed at the beginning of this game is that my team is mostly headed towards the A side. I have the support of a KPF Z70 and a T92 who's about to wake up. But even though the majority of my team is going A, I still want to at least support my team here on C, get some spots up, maybe get some damage dealt, and then relocate if I need to. Now, the number one area you want to relocate if the enemy team has 7 ticks rushing C is into the middle of the map. You're safest there, you draw the enemy team into a crossfire. So I'm pushing up aggressively here to try and get a nice HE reset on the T92, and that was an abysmal shot by me. Now I'm going to do something important here. Firstly, I'm not going to poke this bush once my camera resets, and that's because this T92 is going to perma spot me. I'm close enough to the T92 where I will always be spotted if I am pushing there. Secondly, my team is pushing into B cap, and that means what's going to happen here is if my team is pushing aggressively into B cap, tanks over on the C side are going to want to farm these vehicles. So I'm sitting here waiting for an opportunity when I know someone soon is going to poke this area. And of course, the AMX 5120 perfectly obliges and decides to poke forward to reset B, which gives me the opportunity to put a nice high explosive shell into him. So that was just a little bit of awareness. What was my team doing, and where could I locate to best deal damage in that situation? Instead of poking there and getting spotted constantly, let's just poke up to the right. Now the T92 is He's just sitting here and he doesn't realize I can just put a nice high explosive shot into him, so he gets absolutely nuked with a high explosive shell. And at this point I realize, okay, our KPF Z70 is about to go down, our T92 is just making a complete break for it, and we've lost this side of the map. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to help my team aggress over on this 704 who is isolated at this moment. And this is important because when I push down into here, I'm pretty secure. You know, if the enemy team wanted to kill me here or shoot me, they really have to expose. And of course, I'm always checking behind me to make sure I'm not getting pushed on, just to double check. And as I'm not getting pushed on yet, and since the tanks over at B and the ST1 on my right are probably distracting the enemy team more than I am, I'm pretty safe for now. But as soon as this 704 dies, I know it's time to push up. There's no need for me to sit here. I'm not going to get that many shots just sitting here, and I'm still at high risk of getting pushed on there, especially since our T92 just did a YOLO run and drew them into enemy back into their spawn. So now I should have high explosive shell at that AMX 5120, and I think one criticism I could definitely make about this game was my use of risky high explosive shots and a few bad shots in general. You know, if it's a really risky shot, it's honestly better to shoot AP, but if you can get the HE, it is always nice because it's, you know, much faster to kill a tank. So speaking of killing tanks, we have picked up the AMX 5120, and right now I am just going to pull right back towards this rock that will provide great cover and wait for the enemy team to start pushing out, such as this Progetto who wants to pick up a kill on this Vickers Light, which gives me the opportunity to put a shot into him, and I am able to pull back in this situation while only receiving 1 shot in return. So a pretty good trade, although my team does not look like they're in the best of situations. Now here we're going to have a really special shot moment where I just demonstrate my ability of not understanding the traverse on my tank very much. If I had traversed perhaps a quarter second sooner, that shot would have gone in, but it was just a little bit too slow there. So a bit of an ugly shot on my part. I was anticipating faster traverse, but never mind that. That's not important to the game right now. Right now, I need to figure out how to kill these tanks. So I am going to load out high explosive here because this Progetto needs to die. He's a 2-shot, but with high explosive, I'm able to easily pick up the kill in the circumstance, which is great for me. Now the T92 knows I just fired, so I'm going to angle up this way and wait for him, and the T92 dies. Okay, so this is good news. The 263 is going to get pushed on by the VK72, which leaves that very healthy Vickers CR to push on me. Now, I anticipated the Vickers CR would push on this side of the rock because the T92 died that way, which means that was the direction I was last looking. Unfortunately, I overestimated how the Vickers would think in this particular situation. Now, we're going to mess up a high explosive shell there. That was a weird shot. If you look at the hit mark, you can see it landed perfectly on the flat HE-able section of his hull. I'm not exactly sure why that didn't pen, just a little bit unlucky, but unfortunately, I'm not looking very healthy in this situation. We do get a nice shot into the Vickers CR, and I'm going to pull up towards this rock just to give me that extra time to try and stay alive in this situation. And of course, because the 268 has Sylvia armor, which is really troll, we're going to pick up a nice kill shot here. So that's the game one. Now, this was 7,000 damage, definitely not your ordinary Object 268 game, but what I think I can highlight about this battle was the fact that you did not see me snipe. I could have sat in the back of our spawn on a hill and just sat the whole game and sniped. But no, instead, I used my tank aggressively. It allowed me to support my team much better when my team was aggressing towards the enemy spawn. It allowed me to relocate much quicker, allowed me to be more useful to my team. If I was sitting in spawn, there was only so many shots I could have taken, whereas by taking a more aggressive role in this battle, it was able to help my team win that game much more easily. Now, for the second consecutive battle, we're going to be on Himmelsdorf, and I'm going to push up towards the medium side of the map, and that's because our lineup is mostly of medium vehicles. I mean, we have more mediums than the enemy team, and their 2 tank destroyers are paper TDs. In other words, tanks you can just eliminate with HE, so I'm happy about that. And this is going to be a much more typical Object 268 game, such as typical Object 268 gun handling that's just kind of trolling me there, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. So I've pushed up to this little mound here. I like this area because it allows me to pull back and get shots towards the middle of the map if the enemy team pushes aggressively on D, and it also allows me to push up forward or to the right to support my medium. So just a good area at the early half of the game. Unfortunately, we miss a shot on the FV422 there, and then we get a really weird bounce off the side because, you know, Object 268 has Russian armor. So I'm going to pull up forward here to see if I can try and get a shot into the 422 when he's running away, but the T92 gets spotted and distracts him. Now the 4005 makes the mistake of getting spotted in the open, so I'm going to slap him in the face with a nice 900 plus high explosive shell. So we've dealt 900 damage here, received 0 in return. A pretty good game so far, and I'm just kind of holding the middle of the map because anytime the enemy team tries to relocate, it gives me a shot opportunity. So I'm going to sit here and wait for that 422 who was spotted pushing around to pull around into the open. And he does get spotted, and we're going to put a nice shot into him and then pull right on back. Now, my team is already winning this game pretty easily. If you look, we've already picked up a kill. We have bled the enemy team much better in terms of HP, and the enemy team is kind of split up right now. And because they're split up, I decided I'm not going to push over there. I don't think I'm going to make a huge difference on the result of that fight, whereas if I go back this way, I can kind of prevent these tanks from shooting my team from behind or flanking around them and deal some damage at the same time, such as this T57 Heavy here, who I'm just going to sit here and kind of pre-aim. I know it's only a matter of time before he decides to poke, but unfortunately, the gun handling does not work out there, and I missed the shot on his turret, so I'm just going to continue pulling back. Now, what I'm going to do here is a perfect example of how to play the Object 268 when you're poking around a corner. I am hiding the left-hand side of my pike nose, which means the only armor that the T57 Heavy has to shoot at is the very heavily angled right-hand side of my whole entire pike nose, and I guess you could say as a pike nose on the superstructure as well. And that's what you want to do in the 268. Don't just broadside around a corner and sit there. If you can, try and only show one half of your hull and angle it out, because that gives you the best opportunity of ricocheting a shot. We've already bounced 1400 damage here. Unfortunately, the gun said no to H'ing the gorilla, but at least we caught him on fire, so I'm happy about that. And this T57 Heavy, he's just pushing into a crossfire. He's going to die soon, so I decided to ignore him in this situation and just push up to kill the FE422, and that is the game over. A little bit below average for me with only 3200 damage dealt, but still a decent example of how you can play the 268, and a little bit more of a common example of the 268 in my opinion. So 3,200 damage. What I really did in this game was just kind of push up towards the middle, supported my team, and then kind of sat back and waited for the enemy's flank to pull into me instead of just YOLOing one side or the other. Now this game, I like how I played this game actually. This is going to be on Dynasty's Pro, and I'm pushing up over towards the right hand side of the map to support our mediums. We have a Centurion Mark 7-1, and we have a Vickers Light, 2 tanks that will do well on the right hand side of the map. So I'm going to push up this way and support them. If you look at the mini-map, my entire team is coming this way. Furthermore, the enemy team has a mouse, and a mouse is going to be quite formidable opponent in a town, a tank that I don't really just want to sit and farm frontally if I can help it. So I'm going to push up to this bush extremely aggressive, and we spot the T92 here, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to wait and shoot HE at him, and yeah, we missed the T92 with the HE, and hit the 422 in his engine deck and do a full high explosive penetration. What can I say? Russian gun handling, right? You missed the target you're aiming for, but you still do a full HE pen on the much more difficult shot. So I'm going to sit here and wait for the T92, and luckily this shot does go in. So we've already dealt 1700 damage with 2 shots. And going dunes, sorry, not dunes, going to the hilly side of the map is very ideal for a tank like the 268 because you have 7 degrees of gun depression, you have sloped armor, you're not very good at poking around buildings and fighting in a town environment. So what you can do is you can have the enemy pull into you. Now, what I'm going to do here is essential. I push up towards here and I ping this side of the map, telling my team that I've identified pretty much a weakness. We're pretty much going to get pushed on in our spawn. I've already predicted that at least a couple of tanks are going to try and aggressively push up through our spawn, and what we need to do is kind of hold this area. Now, thankfully, the FE215B on our team is a decent player, and he actually comes back to provide me with some support. I'm just sitting here pre-aiming, and I get surprised because I did not anticipate the 422 to be pushing up so aggressively in that situation. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to sit here and continue spotting that corner to see who comes around, and of course, the YAG gets spotted. So now we know the enemy team has 2 tanks on this side of the map. Now the 422 is going to make a bit of a mistake, and I'm going to punish him for that mistake with a 760 roll through his turret, and the FE215B is just going to YOLO forward and pick up the kill. So great job by us, good teamwork. We were able to pick up the kills over here, kind of clean up our spawn, and this 57 heavy is going to be my next priority target, and what you can see, if you look at the minimap, he is pretty much getting completely surrounded, and it's only a matter of time before he panics and tries to run away or something, or when he's clipping. So I decided I'm going to aggress on him. I'd rather do that than pushing back through our spawn, because if you look at the minimap, they have those 3 tanks clustered there. And if I was to push around the corner, all they have to do is just quickly turn around and triple tap me, and I'm pretty much dead. So I don't want to do that in that kind of situation. So I decided to push forward, and we do get a very nice high explosive shot onto that T57 heavy. So 3 HE shells in this game, which is very satisfying, I must admit. And I'm going to keep pushing forward and I'm going to pick up the kill on this T57 heavy because our Centurion stock, he's going to have to shoot him like 2 or 3 more times to kill him. So I'm just going to pick up the kill there and keep our Centurion alive and push up onto this mouse, who is he's just kind of sitting here, kind of tunneling me, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to put a shot through his lower plate. He bounces, and I'm just going to pull forward and salute him as the game is over. So this was a good game. It was a pretty fun game at that because, you know, it was just kind of pushing back and forth, dealing a lot of HE damage, but I think what I could prioritize about this is that I was very proactive in defending our spawn. I turned back before anyone was even spotted heading towards our spawn in that situation. I pulled back, I pinged the map to bring my teammates' attention to it. They came with me. We were able to quickly pick up the 422. We made the YAG panic and run away, and we were able to take back our spawn control and kind of just push in and finish off the enemy team in that situation. If we hadn't done that, it might have been a different game. So, for this 4th and final consecutive battle, I know, we're already on the 4th game, right? We're going to be on Alpenstadt, and I'm going to be pushing straight up towards the town side. Now, I could sit in the back of spawn, but that would just be boring, right? Who likes sitting in the back of spawn, especially since our medium tanks are determined to go towards the town side as well. And since our mediums are going this way, I may as well be useful and kind of push up a little bit more aggressively. What you'll notice is I'm not going to be frontlining, okay? I'd never really recommend just outright frontlining in a tank like the 268. However, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit back a little bit and wait for my team to come and push up in front of me and see how I can support them in that situation, such as this VK90 who is pushing straight into the C cap and gives me a nice shot into him. And I'm just going to pull back while I'm on a reload, and I'm just kind of looking around, seeing where my team is. How can I best support my team in this situation to deal damage and hopefully win the game? And the VK90, he's the biggest target right now. He's kind of stuck in the middle, so I'm just going to sit here and wait for him to start pulling back, deal another shot to him, and he's pretty much dead just like that. So now the A cap is being capped by the enemy team, so we know they have at least 1 tank at A. We know they have 2 tanks at the entrance of the town, and they probably have 2 tank destroyers either at A or somewhere back in their spawn. So I'm going to push up here, and I'm not going to be super aggressive. Once again, you'll see I'm kind of just side poking here. I don't want to expose the full left-hand side of my hull. That way, when I'm pulling back, I can only angle at the best area of my armor. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and we're just going to start farming damage over and over. We're going to put another shot, a nice max roll into that 111-14, and this is a very chill game. And you can see, the enemy team is distracted by my team, which gives me an opportunity to deal damage. Every time they're distracted, I will pull forward and shoot them. And that's just like 268 101 if you want to be a support role. Just wait for the enemy to get distracted on your team, pull forward, shoot them, pull back, reload, and so on. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do for pretty much the rest of this battle. So I'm going to put another shot into this YAG's lower plate while our light tank is our medium tank is going for a YOLO run through the enemy spawn. And I'm just going to wait here. Now the Gorilla 15 is going to get spotted up in a moment. The Patton, I'm not exactly sure why he's YOLOing this way, but he thinks I'm loaded, which is why he pulled forward there, so I don't mind. And of course, the Gorilla 15 gets spotted, and if you're in a 268 and you see a Gorilla 15, you're always going to go for the HE, so I did exactly that. The Patton's not a huge threat for me because I have a tank and C-cap, and the tank and C-cap right now is distracting that Patton. He can't really put his attention on me, so I don't have to kill him right away. But now the Patton is shooting at me, so he's becoming an issue, and I am going to pick up the kill here. And this was a fast game. We've already won this battle. We've already dealt 5,000 damage, and what did I do significant about this battle? Not much, and that is the kind of the point I'm trying to get at with the Object 268, is it's a very simple tank to play. You can sit in the back of spawn and snipe if you wish, or you can just kind of push up and support your team, as I have done for all 4 of these games. I have not sat in the back of spawn a single battle. I've always pushed up to support them, but never really just like YOLO'd front line. I always made sure I had teammates coming with me, or that I had cover fire from my team. So this is going to be a beautiful shot, by the way. Just enjoy. Ah, how beautiful. That was a great aim on my part. Doesn't matter, we're gonna ram kill him in a moment. Anyway, so back to what I was saying is, the 268 straightforward. I think you don't have to overcomplicate its playstyle. You can sit in back of spawn if that's what suits you. If that's what you're comfortable with, then yeah, snipe and spawn. But if you want to get that extra average damage and increase your win rate a little bit more, you're gonna have to learn how to use this tank in a slightly more aggressive manner, in a more supportive way. Because the issue is, on Blitz, especially on the NA server in the current meta, games are fast, games are really one-sided, and if you're not there to support your team at the right moment, your team is gonna die, especially when you're in a 268. So it's best to kind of push up with your team so you can be right there to deal support. Now that doesn't mean sniping is invalid. Like I said, some games I am forced to snipe in this tank, but that's not always the case. I prefer to play it a little bit more aggressive, and I find that my average damage increases as well with my win rate. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on how to play the Object 268. I hope that you found some helpful tips on this tank and will be able to incorporate them into your gameplay. And yeah, please feel free to like the video if you enjoyed this content, subscribe for more content to come. You know, the Foch is coming soon, which is a similar kind of vehicle, and I'm really excited about making that video, so you know, wait for that. You guys are awesome, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Saeed on the mix.